I wish I could make this talk topic and lecture or message or whatever we want to call these efforts towards motivating you all. I wish we could make it mandatory, because I think that what I plan to share with you is not that it's original or that I'm some beacon of inspiration, but it's kind of the messages that I know I need to hear, and I know a lot of my peers need to hear. As busy women at any stage of life, it's a great way to kind of light that fire underneath us. So I was listening to this lecture because, you always should remain teachable and glean new concepts from people who study and can be, relatable around topics that speak to us. So I follow this guy named Gedalia Fenster. He is all about character development, and he spoke to why eating has become one of the most misused drugs, and how obviously we need to eat to sustain our existence, and that food is something we should enjoy and it is fuel, but it's become an addiction. And that, when we're storing up, challenges, hard feelings, and, not able to process them, we use food as a vice, a vehicle not to think about it, and a way to manage our problems. And his whole 30-minute, I'm happy to share it with any of you, his whole 30-minute lecture was about how, from more a spiritual perspective, but really the kind of baseline, the message that was running throughout was that, we may be eating to kind of avoid certain problems as a distraction, but then we're actively creating new problems. So we'll still, at the end up with the same problems because you never really dealt with them, but we'll develop new ones like diabetes, heart problems, high cholesterol, and so on. Now, nothing about what I'm trying to say around eating is trying to scare you. It's trying to be a launch pad for me stating the case for reigniting your fitness, your self-care, your wellness, and your whole process towards getting a healthier version of yourself. Now, healthier versions of ourselves is incremental. We do small steps to get to an ultimate goal. So sometimes when we, whether it's holidays or we just get tired or we lose focus, we could come up with a million excuses. But sometimes when we stop exercising, and sometimes it's even injury based, we get stuck and we stay there. And we say it's too hard to get back on, and we come up with every excuse in the book, and we live comfortably in that rut. I have this teacher who used to tell me, you're in such a rut that you're getting so comfortable there that you're putting up curtains, you're laying down the carpet, you are furnishing your rut to the point where you're not ever going to leave it. And my message is, when you feel like you're in a rut, and I know that fitness, people who follow different fitness trends, my program included, it's, a fickle experience. We like it, we're interested, we get fired up, and then something happens in our brain and we lose it. Then there are those amazing people who are able to keep it consistent. They're a special breed, and you guys know who you are. And I'm not criticizing either side or favoring one side, although I do love you guys who have stayed consistent even during challenge. But I do also want to, validate, recognize, support, and justify how hard it is to lose something that we love and lose our footing and have a hard time to get back on. So let's start with some validation. Let's start with honoring it. Let's start with reminding ourselves that staying in ruts are not good, whether it's poor eating or lack of exercise or minimal exercise, because we all know at least 20 minutes a day, every day, or as often as we can do it, is like kind of that health requirement to sustain our long-term health. So let's talk about the ways in which, now that we know what we're dealing with, the ways in which to come out of it. So my first step is always start small, really small. I'm talking like one of the 5-minute workouts I post, or if the weather permits, or if you want to throw on an extra layer, go outside, take a quick walk. Remind your body why movement matters. Sometimes it happens very subconsciously. You do a little bit, and then something like the switch turns on. You're like, oh, right. I need this for my brain. I need it for survival, for my health. I need it for my joints, my bones, and all the things that I've talked about in all the other videos, that you need it for a multitude of reasons. Next, I want you to know about what else you need to do to make it more sustainable, to get back in and to lock it in. Make it fun. Make it enjoyable. If you like doing, and I have one client, and you know who you are, who I love so much, only does the dance workouts. I'm talking the first round of this program back in 2020. And she doesn't want to try the other things. Maybe she has, here and there, because sometimes it was fun to shake it up. But if she knows what she likes, she doesn't change it, because if you change it, you can again lose your footing and come up with a million excuses. It doesn't feel good, I don't want to do it. So at least in the beginning, when you're trying to reignite that fitness, definitely, I beg of you, do it what makes you happy. Even if it makes you happy turning on music in your house and dancing around with your kids or your friends or your roommates or whatever, then that's your answer. And, fueling your body properly with the right foods while you're doing fitness makes it easier. I know when I don't have a good meal or I do something that's a little bit more harmful to my body, like too much wine, then I know that my fitness is going to feel a little harder the next day or even the next couple days because the body isn't properly fueled. Now, we talk about incremental additions of fitness and we talk about doing things we enjoy and fueling properly, but I also think it's about setting realistic goals. A lot of people, and I'm talking bright women, think that they do an exercise for a week, maybe 20 minutes, and they're like, why isn't my shirt and skirt fitting better? Why am I not seeing muscle tone? It takes just the same amount of time in different ways to see it as the amount of time it took to put it on. So obviously there's, adjustments there, and really, be kind to yourself and set realistic goals. Also kind of prepare yourself for potential setbacks. If a Tuesday comes and you had a crazy work day and you set up on your schedule to work out when you get home from that work day and you don't do it, then you might say, see, I'm a failure. All that negative self-talk, all the things we would never say to the close people in our life, but for some reason say to ourselves, then please just prepare yourself for any potential setbacks, failures, blocks, and know that even if you miss that Tuesday because of your crazy work day, get back on. And really, it's about, doing the things you really, truly enjoy. So here's kind of the overview of what I shared. It's all about, setting a schedule, setting realistic goals, taking it slow, doing things you enjoy, properly fueling the body, and really just remind yourself that you're worth it. I know a lot of women who journal and set up positive messages to lock it in. So in the interest of reigniting your fitness with all these breaks in the program, please just get back on. You're worth it, you deserve it, and pick anything short or long that you know you'll get done. Thanks for listening.